record this. You just have such an expansive experience in music, as in, you know, in your own experience with it, with you're married to a musician, you've worked in different places that all have to do with different aspects of the music industry, and now you're at Disney, and you've worked a lot with artists, and I just think you have such a wealth of knowledge, and you're such a great person. I'm excited for you to share with the class today.
Yeah, thanks so much. I appreciate it. And good morning, everyone. Or sorry. Hey, everybody. I don't, you know, it looks like everybody's in different places. So
that is true. Not morning for everybody, but.
Right.
Okay, so let's just jump in. It's Saturday morning, and we'd love to hear a little bit about your past, where you come from, you know, what kind of led you to where you are today at, you know, Disney.
Cool. So yeah, first of all, my name is Brian Vickers. It's good to see everyone. I am originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I saw someone already mention that they were from Nashville, so that's what's up, neighbors. But born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama. I did, you know, high school and everything down there. And after high school, I went to Howard University in Washington, D.C. My major was vocal performance with jazz studies. So I went to school to sing jazz. And to this day, you know, I still know all my standards and a bunch of my, you know, scales and everything. So that's fun. After leaving there, I did an extra year. I went and got my associates from Full Sail University down in Orlando. And I got my associates in recording arts. So I literally went from doing, you know, the scales and the music and the singing and the performance and the full out creative to doing the technical side, like learning the studio and learning DAWs, learning, you know, audio gear and all of that. Moved out here to LA in 2008. And I've been here ever since. And during my time when I first got out here, and this is super brief because, you know, I'm trying to get to the important stuff, but super brief. But when I first moved out here, I ended up working as an intern. I started out as an intern for the company Bunim Productions. You guys might be familiar with them. They are responsible for, you know, The Real World at the time. You know, that was like the show that we led with. But now I think it would be Kardashians, Bad Girls Club, Project Runway, and a host of others. So I started out, you know, interning, like learning that side of it, because when I was in school, there wasn't as much as, you know, a focus on it. Like I had heard people talk about music supervision, but that's really where I delved right in, because I ended up working right underneath the music supervisors of that department. Fast forward even more, during my time there, one of my teachers from college contacted me in about 2011 and was like, hey, you know, we got an opportunity to go on a show to perform. Are you interested? Super long story short, the show ended up being The Sing Off on NBC season 3. Cool. And I performed with my group was Afro Blue. I was a beatboxer for the group, and we ended up coming in 4th out of 16 groups, and one of the 16, I'm sure most of the people would be familiar with, is Pentatonics. So wow. I don't mind losing to Pentatonics because they were phenomenal. So after my time,
4. I mean, that's
I mean it's not a bad deal, you know. Oh. After finishing, or I guess after my time at Bunim, you know, I kind of tried to figure out what the next move would be. And I ended up spending a little bit of time in a library called Select Tracks, which is under the BMG envelope, BMG Production Music. I'm sure you guys are very familiar with BMG. And during my time there, I ended up also working for, I ended up temping for a company known as Trailer Park. And Trailer Park is one of the, I would say, if not the top trailer house in Hollywood, you know. And that's where I got a grunt of most of my trailer experience was over there. And you know, fast forward even later, here I am now working at Disney. I work as an assistant music supervisor at Disney now on the trailer side.
And I just love that you can speak from both sides, and being a jazz vocal major, studying, you know, really being diligent, showing up, doing the internships that have got, you've just kind of like kept saying yes, and these doors have kept opening, and now you're at Disney. And can you let us know, like, what is your job at Disney? Because there's so many different aspects of Disney. People think Disney, they're like, oh great, can I send you a song for the like next movie? You're like, that might not be my department.
Oh, certainly. Yeah, if I had $1 for every time I heard that one.
I'm sure.
I work specifically in a department called The Hive. So we are literally Disney's in-house trailer team. So that means I'm sure you guys have been seeing a lot of the spots for the Avengers Infinity War. We're working on Avengers Infinity War. We worked on, I would say, most of just about exclusively the entire campaign for Star Wars: The Last Jedi. So, and remember, when we say Disney, we're talking, you know, literally Disney live action. We're talking Lucasfilm, we're talking Marvel. So it's a very wide range of films. It's not just, oh, cool, you guys are working on Dumbo and Mary Poppins. No, it's a ton of things, which, you know, shout out to Dumbo and Mary Poppins. Both are actually coming to a theater near you, by the way.
Oh my gosh.
Right. But yeah, we exclusively work on Disney's theatrical projects on the trailer side.
Right.
So we're responsible for finding music for a lot of these big trailers that are coming to, you know, to theaters, etc. I'm sure we'll get into it, but my day-to-day often involves reaching out and speaking with composers, mostly composers. Every now and again, we look for songs, but due to the fact that the films that we're working on require such a heavy amount of composed music, that's primarily what we look for. But, you know, every now and again, we get to we get to go for songs, which is fun as well. But I work with composers, and most of my job actually deals with cue sheets, which for everyone here is incredibly important.
Yeah, we want to know.
That's how you're going to get paid. I'm sure you guys already know about it. But long story short, it's basically the music script of what is happening in a trailer or a TV spot or whatever the spot may be. You know, we have the song title, the writer, the, you know, publisher, and the duration, because, you know, all of those things are very important when it comes down to how you're going to get paid. So yeah, I get a chance to do the administrative part as well as the creative part. So, yeah.
Amazing. And so when you are working with composers, are they people that are kind of like Disney composers? Are they freelance composers? And you're kind of giving them direction, or they're sending you ideas and then you're picking, you know, like, are they sending you like spec ideas, or how are you working?
Yeah. It's actually, as far as submissions, it's a bit of both. There have been instances where some people reached out on LinkedIn, of all places, and said, hey, you know, I see that you're over here. I have a couple of ideas. I usually try to go through a lot of stuff. Now that's dangerous, because that means you're going to be going through a ton of stuff, and we're already going through stuff all day. There are some composers that the company has a long-standing relationship with, and not just composers, but, you know, production houses specifically. You know, like one group does this, but usually most of the people we work with have worked with everyone around town. That's not to discourage new composers from, you know, submitting or working with us. Like I've recently been going through a couple of submissions from some new guys, and I'm, you know, hoping that we can get them on board for a couple of projects. We'll see. But yeah, it's a mixture of the company having some people that we regularly call because they just know our workflow and they know how fast. Because the one thing that I would say that's very different from trailer versus TV is trailer is incredibly fast. I mean, it is like the turnaround time is often same day. Like, hey, here's the idea. If you can get this back to us today, that would be great. Because, you know, more often than not, you know, next day is fine, but things move so fast. And especially for a campaign as large as Avengers, you know, things are at the speed of light. So, so yeah, that's usually why, you know, hey, these are the guys that we work with. But like I said, we also work with some up and comers as well. And the funny thing is, you mentioned the process. Typically when things are submitted, yes, there's always, and I don't care how long someone, you know, people are like, I've been doing trailer music for 30 years. congratulations. But that doesn't change the fact that whenever we do music, you still have to work through the song. Like they'll submit an idea and we're like, all right, this is just, all right, fix this, change this, no matter who it is. Because the editors have an idea that they want accomplished, the producers have an idea that they want accomplished, and then ultimately the client has an idea that they want accomplished. So it becomes a matter of fulfilling all of those steps.
Amazing. Yeah. And being so flexible, open-minded, easy to work with is so important. You can be super talented, but if you do not come to the table with that flexibility and open-minded that you're just talking about, I imagine you're not going to come back to that person.
Oh man, unfortunately, I mean,
or maybe you have to a couple people.
Well, more often than not, no.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys understand, like, no matter what the industry is, whether it would be music or entertainment or business or whatever the case may be, you're probably not going to work with people that you have a hard time working with.
Yeah, right.
That are inflexible. That's just the standard across the board. But I do, there are I would say we don't typically have instances where people are like, no, I don't, I don't want to change this, or I can't change this, or whatever. Yeah. Because everybody knows I want that bottom line. I really want to land. A, I want to land this spot, and B, who doesn't want to get paid?
Right. I mean, right. You would think, but I've heard stories.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. A question just came in. Where did it just go? I think it was
I see one.
Songs, how much music is custom compared to finding it?
Right.
Okay, great.
Yes. Is that Katie? It's Katie, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Hey, Katie. I would say for what our specific house does, 95 to 98% of it is custom, which is a ton.
Yeah.
But the reason that is, as I mentioned, is the projects that we're working on are very specific. Like Star Wars has a sound. It's very John Williams. And I'm sure you guys know what that even means. The big lush strings and the big orchestration and the big full, like it's a huge thing. Avengers, same thing. Avengers has a theme. It's a big sound and it's a big, thing. So most of the work that we do is custom. I will say that that's not the case for most trailer houses. When I was at Trailer Park, we used some custom stuff primarily for the Disney stuff because their stuff is so specific. But when it comes to a lot of other trailers, I would say it just depends on your song. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of trailers that use songs they sound like, original songs. And I know most of you guys probably work on some of those same pieces. So yeah, most of that is indeed, it's very much, custom.
Created. Yeah. So when you worked at Trailer House, was the turnaround just as fast, or because I felt like trailers had a little bit more time, like when you're doing movies, they have more time, but they're just as fast, like in the same day.
Trailer Park was the same way. I think Trailer Park, when it came to a lot of the film turnaround, it was actually faster because here at Disney, we're exclusively working on Disney projects. Mm-hmm. Trailer Park, I know, man, I think before my time, it was about 40 movies or so. I think that was probably about the number. We used to tell people, they're like, are you working on any projects? I'm like, yeah, about 40. Like they work on such a wide range of films. Like you can get, the indie movies, or you get the big blockbusters, or you get these types or that types. So there was much wider of a range, which meant that the turnaround time had to be even faster because you're like, all right, how's this project going? All right, good. How's this one? All right, good. And you have to just keep hopping around. It's not like a situation where, oh yeah, we'll get to it, a couple of days later. Like everybody, because imagine, when you were in college and every teacher treated you as if you're their only class. It's the same thing. Like clients are like, we know that you're the only one that are doing stuff for us. So, come on.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, you. Let's go. Somebody from Maestro. I see you. That's what's up.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
going through the chats as well.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Carolyn or Carol and
Carolyn, yeah.
Carolyn, what's happening? Who typically who typically does and chooses the music for the park rides? Oh, okay. Park rides. I have no idea. I
But I think it's interesting to talk about how, like, just because you work at Disney doesn't mean you're working on everything that's
right.
it's
Yeah,
really specific.
yeah. I know some people have asked about that because I actually ran into a pretty big producer who was like, hey, I'm supposed to be working with the resorts area. I'm like, oh, cool. Sorry, because I don't, that's not our lane. And honestly, I would have no idea who even to send someone like that to. But I
Yeah.
imagine they have their own vendors and their own sources for music as well. So yeah. Shout out to Cecilia. Thanks for the Afro Blue shout out. I'm going through these as well. And thanks y'all for this chat because this is clutch. What about in credit songs? Someone Hope London, what's happening? Hope.
Yeah.
Hope mentioned in credit songs. That's not us. Once again, that ultimately comes down to the music supervisor of the film. I think a lot of people would be surprised. We don't work with them as often as people might think. That actually would be a different department because technically, even though we are on the trailers, now there are these instances. For example, I know Black Panther came out or the trailer. They did the trailer before I got there. And my boss, he found a great song, etc. And I think they ended up liking the song so much that I think it was used throughout the length of the campaign. And after that happened, we ended up working with our department who handles the soundtracks, and they work specifically with the music supervisor of the film. In that case,
cool.
It was Dave Jordan. And, we work with those people. So that's on them. That's their call. Not always the case. Not always the case in certain scenarios. There are some cool situations where a director might hear a song in a trailer and be like, man, I really like that. Let's keep that around. But it's a case by case basis. It's not really something that is a regular thing, I think.
Yeah, I think that's interesting to highlight because I think it's maybe sometimes assumed that the trailer and the film go together. So if there's a song in the trailer, maybe it's like from the movie. And a lot of times they're just, guys aren't even really talking sometimes.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And man, I'll tell you what, and this kind of answers the next question from NTXS. That's a lot of letters. My God, so many letters. Thank you. They mentioned, would love to hear more about the changes you mentioned that are required to fit what the editor's vision is. Some examples. One of my favorite trailers that came out last year was the trailer for the movie Baby Driver. I don't know if you guys have either seen the movie. If you haven't seen the movie, it is amazing. But if you haven't even seen the movie, just look at the trailer. That thing is amazing. And oddly enough, Trailer Park, my old boss, they worked on that one. But the reason a trailer like that is so cool is because music is such a heavy part of it. An editor might come in and say, I have an idea, and here's what I'm thinking, blah, blah, blah. And so the supervisor is going to say, okay, what do you think about this song? What do you think about this song? And then they'll say, all right, let's load them up and let's try it out. They might get the song and say, whoa, that was a dumpster fire. Or they might get the song and say, oh, this really works well. Can we get, either stems or instrumentals? I'm sure you guys are all familiar with stems. I would recommend everyone in here, please, 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 always, and this is, I'm sure 101, but,
No, share it.
Anyway, but always have stems, always have instrumentals for all of your full versions, and have your music in different formats. Typically, I strongly prefer AIFs over waves because AIFs allow for metadata to change. When we're working, I can't always, if your info isn't in the header or whatever, it might not make it through a wave, but it'll make it in an AIF. And we need that because, imagine we're getting hundreds of songs a day. I don't want to say, hey, who is this? Because by that time, that ship may have sailed. So when it comes to working with the editor, it really becomes a matter of Yes, finding a good song, but trying to execute their idea. Imagine, like, we're really the liaison between the musician and the editor. Like, there are times, and that's why I'm glad that I get to come in with the music background. Sometimes the editor will come in and say, hey man, what key is this song in? Because I have relatively pretty solid pitch. I don't like to say perfect pitch, but you know, that's a whole nother thing. But usually that's
relative pitch is, I mean,
yeah, I mean, yeah. And it's funny, super quick story. I have it because I know the key of D. I can always find D because of John Legend's Ordinary People.
Oh, wow.
I was trying to play it in college.
Find everything from D.
And I just find everything from D, because if you go to D, you can go to C. You go to C, you can go home. You know, so
I always wished I had perfect pitch. I think that that's such an amazing gift to be given.
It's fun, and it'll drive you crazy at the same time. No. So I'm like, I want just enough, but not too much, or I'll just go nuts. So I'm still kind of going through the chats.
Yeah. So Sam says, do you find that composers for trailers use virtual instruments and string orchestra libraries for the final product, or do they compose big studio?
That's a great question. Both. A lot of people, depending on the project, they'll rent out a studio and get, you know, the real thing. Now, there are some amazing plugins that people are using in order to accomplish that sound. I personally have here at home, I have Synphobia. I love Synphobia. It's amazing. The strings sound pretty real. The horns sound pretty real. It's just a matter of actually making it sound like something that a real orchestra will play instead of, you know, and y'all know this stuff where somebody's holding a note like, that's cool, right? Like, well, yeah, but where does it go? You know, so yeah, because I know what you're thinking, Sam. That's expensive. The plugin is expensive because I think Synphobia is at least, I would say, $1,000, maybe something like that. But it's worth it. That's the difference from the strings that you're going to hear that come in the package for Logic and the strings that you're going to hear for what is it? Yeah, just whether Omnisphere or Synphobia or East West or any of those major plugins.
What's so when because you deal mostly with composers, what kind of things can a composer send you that makes you say, oh, I like this? Or I think that they're kind of, you know, I can see that they have talent. Because I think sometimes it gets confusing where they send you a ton of stuff that's all these different genres, or they send you like a couple different cues.
Yes.
And what is the best thing to kind of give you something that you can wrap your head around?
Okay. I always explain it like, it's like math, right? You have, when it comes to math, you have formulas. Like we all know, you know, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And, you know, I hate math, so I don't want to say any more math. I don't want to say any more math formulas, but you know the formulas.
Like, is that true?
Yeah. A squared plus B squared. That's like the only one. Shout out to transitive.
Let me figure that out.
My teachers would be so glad that I still mention transitive. But anyway, it's like math. The formula for trailers is A type, but it's very different because some people are like, I score for film. Not the same as it is for trailers. Typically for trailers, one of the biggest things that I listen for, because people are like, how long should it be? I don't particularly care as much about the length of it as I do the quality of it.
Awesome.
Typically, you know, 2:45, 3 minutes or whatever is just fine. But the key is how that 3 minutes plays out. Typically, we like a 3-act bill. What that means is you have a first act, you know, and you guys know the movie, like you start subtle and soft and, you know, in a world where people are walking around on the street. And then, you know, it builds and gradually builds. And then there's a dropout. And then during that dropout, oh my God, we gotta go, let's go. And then it gets a little bit bigger. And then as we're getting, as we're getting even bigger, there's usually another dropout. And then you take us home with a huge big bill at the end. You know, get very big, but the key for trailers is building. I want to see how you build. I want to see I don't care as much about your instrumentation, but I do want to hear a mix that is complete. Like, I know we get a lot of stuff where I'm like, oh my God, this thing is clipping, and the clipping distracts me from hearing the song really well. So I want to hear a good mix. I want to hear a good 3-act bill. I want to hear it build. I want to hear what you're doing that's cool. One of the coolest, or one of the guys who I think, one of the composers, and I always tell people to go check out their stuff, is it's a company called Confidential Music. I really like their stuff. And we use it. They're used all over town because he has such a cool sound. We used Confidential for one of our spots for Solo, a Star Wars movie. We had I think the Super Bowl spot used this real cool cue. And what he did was, going in, they took a chance. It's a Star Wars movie. So you guys know the big triumphant, they went different. They went with kind of a cooler sound. So he uses this real cool guitar, and I'm like, oh man, but he's still building. It's like digga, 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 digga. Like when you guys get off, just go take a look at that one, and you'll hear how cool it is.
Yeah.
But taking those chances makes one stand out, because I know everyone can kind of sit down and do like a typical classic, whatever, like a trailer cue, but make it cool, because that's ultimately what I think will stand out more.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Do you guys take notes on that? I feel like you just taught a class. That's so important, that information that you just spelled out for people. It wasn't vague. It wasn't like take notes. That's amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much. People don't know what to send or how to, really they just kind of throw things out there because that information is not available, and you just really spelled it out. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Let's see a couple questions, or if you see one that you want to answer.
Is this Janine?
Yeah.
Janine D'Souza? Hey, it's like Sousa. What's happening, Janine? How open is Disney to accepting and using songs from outside songwriters for TV shows and films? Well, we don't usually work with the shows themselves, literally like exclusively films and behind the scenes. So usually we don't, use a lot of songs. But, I always recommend, if you have a song that you're like, man, this would be perfect for Bambi 3D. All right, cool. See if you can, and I honestly think this is kind of fun, but I think a lot of you guys, if you're on social media, you should follow like a Deadline and Hollywood Reporter and a lot of these, publications that are read by Variety, like a lot of those publications, because they'll tell you what director is working on what film. And if you know the director, there's a good chance that you can figure out who the music supervisor is. So, and clearly I'm sure this team is very active with the research, but usually I think that's the best route, is to find, the music supervisor for those projects, or for or a supervisor who's worked on a film that you hear your material possibly having a better fit for. So yeah, hopefully.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you just answered Hope's question too about what's the best way to find, Hollywood Reporter, the trade magazines, publications. Yeah.
Right. Oh, and shout out to Aaron. He finds Canon in D. That's what's up. Always fun. You went real classical with it, but that's cool. I think that's Stipfire and Vienna Symphony. I know Vienna Symphonic is cool. Vienna is tough. Really, and guys, I always say the same thing that I say to a lot of urban music producers. They're like, all right, what's the best drum kit ever? I'm like, I really can't call it, because a lot of hits are being made using this drum kit or that one or that one. Honestly, yes, it does matter the sounds that you're using for a lot of these spots, but at the same time, the key is just how you manipulate it. How do you make your arrangement sound as real as possible? I know a lot of times that can be fixed in the mix. I listen to some strings like, oh man, it sounds too MIDI. And I know you guys know what I mean when I say that. Like, it's hard to make a good horn sound good, or it's hard to make a horn sound amazingly realistic, especially in an orchestral sense. But a lot of times that can be fixed in the mix. So yes, plugins matter, but remember, it's just a matter of what you're doing within said plugin.
Right. That's such great advice. I mean, even if you have like the best sound, you could mess that up. So,
yeah.
Really.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you mentioned Hope. Thank y'all for this chat is awesome. I kind of geek out over this thing because it's like,
yeah, isn't it fun? You're now like the favorite guest people are talking about.
Oh man, that's what's up.
My extra wants to know what high school you attended.
Oh yeah, man, I went to John Carroll Catholic. Yeah, that's my jam. Wait, is somebody in here from Alabama or?
I don't know if that's what he was saying or not.
That's the question.
Right. Maybe that's what
yeah, John Carroll. That's my jam. Yeah, man.
Well, we're gonna hop into listening to some songs. Okay. Somebody asked if it was best to like have it be instrumentals that we're sharing with you. They've already signed up to share these songs, so I'm gonna go through them. If anybody wants to change their link that they've attached, just let me know.
I'll say this. Don't worry. Right for now, don't worry about a length because naturally, I just want to hear how the song sounds. And B, even though we work on the side of, trailers, and even though we do the stuff that is specific, with the orchestra and everything, I just want to hear the songs because remember, even if I'm not able to use it, I know a lot of other supervisors are always looking for certain things. So don't be afraid of, I don't have a Star Wars theme. Oh my God, I don't have it's okay.
You're amazing. You're so amazing. You you know what people need to hear, and you're giving all the answers in such a clear way. And
I appreciate that.
So thank you. Okay, I just sent you the link so you can listen to it on your end.
Okay.
And this is Katie's song, "A Princess Can Be Smart," and orchestration is by Frederick.
Okay. Oh, cool. Like I actually just go
you
through
can
it.
Play it from your end, yeah.
Oh, that's hip. Okay. I am currently listening to Auntie Katie, "A Princess Can Be Smart."
And everybody else, the link is in the sign-up sheet if you want to listen along. It's also in the chat, obviously.
Oh, and as a heads up, because I know I'm just going to be sitting here and I don't want it to get awkward, I'm probably going to go through these a little bit faster because just so you guys know how we listen to it in real time.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, still listening. All right, cool. Just like that already.
Perfect.
Thank you, Auntie Katie. That's hip. I like. It's a lot of jazz people in here, huh? Wow, what a surprise. A lot of jazz people. It's a jazz tune. I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to it. But the first thing that stood out to me is the fact that it does feel very traditional Disney film. That can be a good thing or a bad thing. I think that having a title of "A Princess Can Be Smart" is so specific that it's too specific. Think about this. If they're doing a movie where a princess isn't the main character, there's going to be less of a chance of it getting placed. A, and B, remember that when you write these songs, it's best to have such a wide-ranging general lyric outlook, because the more narrow you make it, the tougher. Like that song feels written for a scene. Which isn't bad, but I think overall it'll reduce the chances of it. You want to write one song that gets licensed a bajillion places. And I think having that reduces it a lot. But I do think it has a traditional, Disney film kind of, it's very, like I said, Mary Poppins-ish, very Cinderella, bippity boppity boop kind of, which is cool. But for the sake
I didn't actually write it with Disney in mind. I just wrote it to perform for kids, but it just seems
cool. See,
a good fit.
Yeah.
In a general kind of sense. But yeah, I didn't think it would specifically fit any project because it wasn't written with that in mind. It was just written to perform for kids.
Okay, yeah.
So we thought we'd try giving it a Disney spin and see how well we could fit that.
I think, like I said, the idea is certainly there. I think that for what it comes to, those specific placements, it has to be a little bit more wide ranging.
Right, more general, because it's got so much diversity in it that it would be hard to find a story that would fit all those specific things.
Right, yeah. Naturally, I think that was the one thing that stood out to me the most. Naturally, I almost kind of want to hear, did you guys record that one with real instruments or?
No.
Okay. Yeah. All right, just checking. Because I think that, like, for that next stage, that's probably what I would want to hear. I would want to hear it with the full band and hear, you know, the real bass and the real, you know, whatever. Because, like I said, I think that idea is certainly there. You know, they love their jazz for those types of musicals, etc. Especially coming off of, I don't know if you've seen Greatest Showman. You know, between that and La La Land, clearly there's a lane for it. It's just a matter of actually making it wide-ranging enough.
Right. So you think the songwriting itself is strong, it just doesn't specifically fit that because it's too specific.
Yeah, the songwriting, I think, can work. Exactly. It's just a matter of not narrowing your options. You know, you want to keep things as wide-ranging. So if Disney doesn't like it, then, you know, a commercial can say, oh, this is cool.
Right. That could be a Mattel toy ad or something.
Or something. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so the next song there is from Rhea.
Oh, okay.
Link is up. Yeah.
Oh, wait, did you drop it? Oh. Hey, what's happening?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for all of this. It's great.
Good. Wait, where's the link? Or am I tripping? This is cool, by the way. I'm still like, this is the future. This is it. This is the future.
Can you see it now?
Yes, there it is.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Listening now. Kaleidoscope? Yeah?
Yes.
All right, let's see what we got. All right, cool. Went through it. That was cool. That was really hip, man. I enjoyed it. It has a good energy to it. It was fun. Yeah, that was hip. I do think it has a pretty solid chance for placement stuff. With, like, especially, you know, ads, etc. Like, it felt like Target ad because the colors, and I hear a song about colors, and I know they're really good about that. Like, hey, we're rolling out our spring line, you know, bop, bop. Like, it felt like either that or just and I guess this is the difference immediately of, you know, hearing this song versus the last. I think this is kind of what I mean when it relates to having a wider kind of blanket about what the lyrics should be. One important thing that I want to mention to everybody that I heard in this one is, remember, when you write these songs, I always tell people, give me something different every 4 to 8 bars.
Oh, I love that.
And I think that song was really good for that. Like, when I get past 4 bars, something should be different. Give me, all right, if I've been listening to a beat, like in the beginning of that one, it kind of has like this synthy thing. And then eventually it brought in like some kind of light percussion. And then eventually it brought in like a drum. And then when we get to the chorus, boom, we go big. Like, we go big at the chorus, always go big at the chorus, because that's the thing. Really, really big. That and also the ending. I appreciate the fact that the ending had a stinger ending. I'm sure you guys probably went over that as well. But stinger endings are definitely key. If there was one suggestion I would make, I would just say, of course, you probably already have this. Have one version, you know, clearly this, you know, of course, instrumental, and another that might not have, like, you know, I don't know, it was a feature, right? Like, kind of had like this background ad lib hip hop kind of deal, which is cool. It works, you know, but yeah.
There's a great artist named Elle Young who comes in later in the song. Great singer.
I know Elle Young.
He's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Good stuff. That's dope. And
well, the guy who produced that actually does a ton of production stuff for Disney Japan.
Nice.
His name is and he's the arranger on Dancing with the Stars and orchestrator. So he's really good. So we really fleshed it out quite a bit, and it means so much. I'm going to be so happy to pass on.
Certainly, man. I would definitely look into pitching that one, as many places as you could, because it has a good energy. And like I said, I think all of those things are there. Just be sure that you also have it in different formats. Be sure that you got the MP3, but you also have, like I said, having waves. Be sure your metadata is straight. And also just be sure to have those different, versions, just in case, because you want to give, your supervisors or your other people as many options as possible, and the sooner you can get back to them, the faster they can get everything plugged in.
So you mean like versions without some of the features and versions without
I would say have you have your main version already, just have an instrumental version, maybe a version that's hook only, and maybe a version with just vocals without maybe no features.
Okay.
Just for the sake of variety. Who knows what they'll ask for? Clearly, if you're in touch with the producer, hopefully these are things that are quick and fast and easy to get.
We actually have all of that. He's a total pro. So,
good deal.
Brian, thank you. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I'll tell Elle you said hello.
Yeah, that's what's up.
I'm working with him tonight, actually. So
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's a love.
That's awesome. Yeah, good work.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
All right, you too.
The next one there is Sergey.
I'm sorry, before I click the next one, did I already answer, in case I didn't answer the question that Christina had about what is a stinger ending? A stinger ending is a clean, definitive ending. So that means as the song plays, as opposed to don't fade it out. Don't fade it out. End it definitively. And yes, this is the ending. Put a button on it. So yeah. Cool. Next up, is it the disco link?
Yes.
Shout out to disco. It's like taking over the world now.
I know. Well, it's so easy.
Yeah. Loading up. All right, cool. So Weird Fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
This is an instrumental.
Okay. As a heads up, who's the artist?
Sergey.
Dear Sergey, I have to know who the artist is.
It's me. Cheers.
Okay, cool.
Serge. Or maybe it's Serge. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
Serge or Sergey?
Serge.
French.
I always forget that. Sorry.
All right. Like I said, and disco is good for this too. Just be sure that you have like the name and everything. So no question. You know what I mean? Cool. Listening now. All right, cool. It's quick. Thank you for that, Serge. It was cool. I got a chance to hear a couple of emotions. Now, this is interesting. When you go through a track like that, first of all, it did have the same thing that I mentioned earlier about seeing something different every 4 to 8 bars, which is cool. When I heard it, I think naturally I get an emotion. It's aggressive, it's kind of dark, but it still has enough energy with the background stuff, which is cool. I think it could have a chance for, like once again, just like the last song, this one feels catered for ads. That being said, I think that there are a couple of suggestions that I would make, which are you kind of have like this lull period, which I imagine it sounds like the track was written for an artist, as if, all right, here's the chorus, and then they're going to come in singing, here's the chorus again, which is fine. But I think and you did mention it's an instrumental, so it makes perfect sense. Yeah. When you have a song like this, I think always be sure that when you go from one section to the next, so when you go from your verse to your your chorus or your chorus to your verse or whatever, one thing that we use a lot in the trailer world are, you know, very specific transitions. Like, I kind of wish I heard, like, you know, when you go from the chorus to the verse, use like a reverse cymbal or some kind of swell or something to just really anticipate that feeling a lot more. And yeah, and the ending I thought was pretty cool. And even swell up to that ending, because now you're looking at a situation where it could be used as underscore for a project. And if you're thinking like, I don't know, maybe a film or something, like, oh, they go to a club or something weird's about to happen. And I actually would be kind of curious to hear what something like that would sound like with strings underneath, like kind of like this tension thing, because that ultimately would change the entire direction of the song. But yeah, I think that was a cool idea. And I think that I'm glad for that example, because it lets everyone hear something that has more of an emotive sound. Like, that literally was an emotion. Like, you hear the darkness and you hear the grittiness, the aggressiveness or coolness, you know, depending on what the visuals are.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Actually, I hesitated for like up to the last minute between that one instrumental or a very Disney Celine Dion oriented song. So
okay,
between the two, and I decided for this one because this one is a new one. So thanks for your cue.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. No problem. But I mean, yeah, I think the form is certainly there. And I think clearly I can tell it was written. The only difference, like if that song was written for a trailer and everyone would be able to see the wavelength, the wavelength would go like this, you know, like it would go slow, big, slow.
Easy to do.
Clearly I saw big, thin. That's when, well, it's a song, which is cool. So thank you for that. Pretty hip glasses you got there too. Those are hip.
I agree. Yeah. Everybody's like, Brian's the best. He's amazing. Can we have you back?
That's awesome.
You really are. Like, you're just so friendly, personable, and then like your advice and insight is just dynamite. So.
Oh man, thank you so much.
Okay, so next song here we have Christina.
Hey, Brian. Hey, what's happening, Christina? This is cool. Hey, your picture shows up right next to mine, so that's cool. I was like, oh, she went. She's in the car. Cool. You got like.
Yes, I am. I just actually came from the March for Our Lives up in Albany, New York. So I'm in the car coming back. It was cool, yeah.
Dedication. Yeah. Thank you for coming. I appreciate that. That's heavy.
No problem. Thanks.
Cool. So let's see. All right, Big Pink Heart. Is that you?
Yeah, that's the my pub. Yeah, but
why'd you air quote it?
I don't know, because I'm not like called Big Pink Heart. Like I'm by my artist name, so I just don't want you to.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, cool. Now, wait, what were you about to say before I press play?
Oh yeah, I just want to make sure you listen to the actual song and not the instrumental, because I just want to hear your feedback on the actual song. Cool.
All right. Here we go. Got that magic, yeah?
Yes.
All right, cool. Press and play.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Finish. All right, cool. Thanks for that one. Got that magic.
Thank you.
All right, it was a cool song. I think most of my notes for this one are on the production side. I think you have a good idea for lyrics, because magic, perfect, and clearly you have a sound, which is fine. I think that your sound clearly works for in the producer world. The younger demo, God, I hate talking like that, but meaning younger crowds, and I think you could you could probably pull in like, you know, like a teen Disney kind of thing or whatever, which is fine. Production wise, I wish a couple of things were different. In the beginning, I would say let the song breathe a little more. You don't have to come immediately in with, you know, I got the magic. That's the name of the song. Like, let it breathe a little bit more. And hang on, I'm going to give notes and press play because there were a couple of things that I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget. But when you press play on it, you immediately come in with, you know, that beat. I almost wish the drum didn't come in right out the gate, because when you bring less instruments in the beginning, it allows for you to go somewhere, and it naturally makes the song build a lot more without needing to change things. Like you don't have to work harder to change certain things. So I would say maybe less instrumentation. And when you come in, I almost wanted a pre-chorus too, like around, you know what I mean when I say that, the pre-chorus?
Yeah.
Like right before you actually come in with the actual chorus, maybe like a different part to lead into it, like, and something else, and boom, I got the, does that make sense?
Okay.
That was a lot of.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Yeah. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it almost had I'm sorry.
No, I actually worked with a different producer. I worked with a friend that I had been working with a lot of music on for over a few years, but the producer who does most of my stuff, he's definitely more experienced in the production side.
Yeah,
so, what you're saying,
I mean,
definitely.
The cue, I can tell, you know, like all of you guys, everything that I've heard so far, it's better than than I regularly get to hear from submissions that I don't, you know what I mean? Like people like, hey man, listen to my song. And I'm like, whoa, that was terrible. You don't say that, but no, but this was, no, I would never call somebody
amazing.
But I do think, like I said, I think in order for that to really, you know, flow as fluidly, I think that would have to be it. I would actually recommend you make the song a little shorter, because the longer it is, especially for that type of song, the greater the chance of people getting tired of hearing you say, I got the magic. So maybe around 2:10, maybe, or 2 minutes, if you truncate that a little bit, because it's not like, you know, you're having to tell this big story or anything. So yeah, I would say cut it a little bit, and near the end, try to find I almost want, I wanted to hear a little bit more reverb on your vocals, just so it sounds a little bit bigger, and to give it more of that, you know, traditional pop sound. And I almost think I want to hear more of a, you know, some more of a guitar. I need some kind of guitar on that to really drive home like who this is for. And these are things that I think can help on the sync side, or on just the, hey, I'm pitching this to, you know, go wherever side. But
amazing.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Brian.
Yeah, no problem.
And your advice really can translate to everybody's songs. You know, it's a really great information for everybody to have.
Yeah. And one more thing for everyone, like when it comes to doing these vocals, and when it comes to doing, you know, songs like that, you know, that are just big and have energy, don't be afraid to use reverb on there, because if it sounds too dry, it'll almost, you know, it doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't, it makes it sound like it's just not ready. You know what I mean? So give me some level of reverb. It doesn't have to be, I'm in a, you know, whatever, but just give me some reverb so that I can hear that, you know, that cleanness, and I want it to soar a little bit. And I know those are super artsy kind of ways to explain what I'm talking about, but I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, well, everybody's super artsy, so I think they can get it. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's another one. This one is Together We Can Change the World. Jody, who's on the call, has her song.
Let me see.
And I know we just have a few more minutes, so maybe we'll do 2 more if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, it's an off day, so I'm excited. All right, Together We Can Change the World. Charles Michael Brotman and Ryan Higgins now playing. All right. Yeah, went all the way through. Yeah. Whose song was that?
Jody submitted it, and her brother.
Jody.
Yeah, it was my brother who's not on the call. So
I will tell you what, that song is textbook, man. It's
love that song.
It is really like, that's the stuff that everybody looks for all the time. So, you know, like, and I'm sitting there like, all right, please let me know it doesn't. Oh yeah, it did that. Oh, I hope it doesn't. Oh, it did that too. And if you guys get a chance, please listen at that, because I think it's a really, really good, nice kids basketball game, March Madness. That's what's up. And good to see you, Sam. Yeah, man, it's a really good song. I really like the way that it did everything. It started with the guitar, soft vocal, and then it started bringing in, you know, another, you know, thing here, another one here, another one here, and then we get big. And I'm like, oh, I hope they give me that big choir fist pumping kind of stadium thing at the end, and it did. And it was a good payoff, and it ended well. I mean, you know, that I think that's a textbook example of a good placeable song. I mean, a good song anyway, because the lyric content, you know, like I said, guys, look how general it is. Together we can change the world. You can use that for, if it was a march and a march had a commercial, you could use it for that. You could use it for, you know, hey, you know, this mega company is, you know, doing an effort for a nonprofit, or, you know, there's so many different ways where you can go for that. And I thought it was just really well done. So yeah, that's good. You can.
Great. Any top 3 places that you would pitch it to if you were us?
I just find some ad houses if you can. And I know people think, oh, you know some ad house people, right? And you'd be surprised. I know more people on the trailer side, but I would reach out for that side as well. Trailer stuff, definitely, but I really like it more for ads and commercials, because it just feels a lot more natural there, and it seems like it would have a higher replay value there. Right. So, I mean, yeah, like if you can get in touch with, and I'm trying to think of who, you said your brother, right? Is this song? Mm-hmm. Is he is he an ASCAPper or a BMI or? ASCAP. He's ASCAP. Is he, where are you guys located?
Hawaii. We're on the Big Island.
Wow, you win. Because part of me wants to say, man, I wonder if does he know about the ASCAP Expo happening in?
Yeah, he goes.
Okay, good, because I know that would be a great option, you know, to go and hopefully get it in some hands there. And he should be pitching that for that, like to play in front of the panel so that they can hear it. Because remember, hearing it for some of the supervisors, I think, half of the battle. So, what is an ad house? It's an advertising agency, as Laura mentioned. Yeah. And these are places and people that, you know, handle the commercials, and it can range anywhere from, you know, whether it be certain companies deal with certain clients. Like some people deal with just Nike, or some people deal with just this or just that. But I would recommend that he find some music supervisors at just as many ad agencies as he can.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Brian, we'll do one more, but if people want to get in touch with you, do you want to share contact or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you guys here,
or you could just say it out loud.
I can actually type it, you know, because if I say it, then everybody will be like, oh, wait, what do you say? You know, there's my email address. That's my personal email. And usually it's a little bit easier for me to sort through things there.
I'm just going to say it out loud because some people don't get on the replay. They don't get
oops. Yes.
So
yes.
Brian.Vickers, Vickers 318
It's Brian with an I. I know it's easy to hiccup. Brain. I get a lot of, hey, Brain. What's happening? I'm like, oh, Brian.
Fingers just went the opposite direction.
Yeah, A, that, and B, you know, there is a NASCAR driver that shares the exact same name as me. So I'm the black one. But yeah. So yeah.
Okay, last one. Mm-hmm. This song is by Piper. She's not on the call, but it's a
cool name.
She's gonna be watching the replay.
Oh, okay. Piper. How you doing, Piper? Oh, okay. I have Hopscotch by Sonny Piper. Now listen. Cool. Just went through it. So whenever Piper comes back to take a look at this one, I think it's a really cool song, man. It's really interesting. It's a really interesting song. I like the most when it comes to a lot of contempt pop stuff. You'll notice a lot of stuff that you hear on the radio right now, and a lot of stuff that, you know, gets placed a lot, have a lot of elements. They all have like some kind of big movement, like a lot of, I think it's easy to get a foreground instrument, you know, like you hear the synth and you hear the drums and you hear this, but I think a lot of the money is made with the background instruments, things that aren't as prominent, but they fill the track up a lot more. I think that this cue was cool because it definitely had that percussive element. That percussion immediately sucked me in, which I think it always does when it comes to those types of big pop songs. And Christina, the song that you played earlier, this is almost kind of what I meant by kind of letting that intro breathe just a little bit, because she lets it breathe and then she does mention hopscotch, but the way that she throws it in, it feels a little bit, more like, oh, okay, this sets the stage, which is fine. Naturally, like I said, I don't think it has to have that on the beginning, but I didn't mind it as much. And I do like the percussiveness. It followed the form. Every 4 to 8, we got something different. I wasn't like, I need more of a difference. If it had more, I wouldn't have been upset for that 4 to 8. But I think that, you know, it definitely had a lot more of that movement. And when it got to the hook, I think it was a great idea to have that, you know, that low end synth come in and just really fill the track up a lot. If there was one thing that I would have wanted to hear or a suggestion, I would say have one version that doesn't end with saying hopscotch, because, you know, like you wanted to just naturally have an ending. And that doesn't mean throw away this ending. That means just have an alternate version where you don't, you know, say that at the end. And lyric wise, it'll be interesting because I think the feeling to this one is what makes it work. Saying hopscotch is like, all right, we know where we're going. You know, we're going to go hopscotch. But I think that the feel on this one is really cool. And like I said, you guys, I think have really, I really am impressed by the level of production that I'm hearing from a lot of these cues, because they are really well put together. Like this isn't, I can tell you guys are putting work and putting time and effort and money into your songs. So,
Thank you.
So yeah, I think that's a big thing. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Brian. This was amazing. And your feedback was amazing. People are just, you know, giving you such high kudos. And I know you're going to be getting that in emails as well. And
certainly.
Thank you for sharing. I can't tell you enough how you're specific, insightful feedback, and just so friendly and open.
Oh man, thank you. And thank you guys. If you email, I will eventually get back with you at some point soon, at some point in the future.
We get it. Point. We know that your email
but
is
don't,
full,
yeah, don't.
And we just appreciate that you're here.
Oh yeah. I enjoyed it, and great stuff, guys. I look forward to hearing from you guys, and you know, keep doing great things. I always like to tell people, whatever you do, just do the best you can to not suck. And if you do your best, then you won't suck. It's great. It's gonna be great.
That's good.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, cool. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good one, everyone. All right, bye.